Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to create an SSH key in order to connect to your GitHub account and authenticate against your GitHub account and be able to pull repositories from and push repositories to your GitHub account. So let's get started by calling SSH key gen and then mention the algorithm that you want to use. I'm going to use RSA. There are other algorithms that you can use, of course. By pressing tab, you can see them. Here are the list of repositories, the list of algorithms that you can use to create your SSH key. So let's use RSA, which is a very popular key and encryption algorithm used in cryptography. And then we give it a comment. Let's mention, for example, this system, my Fedora system or my Fedora laptop. And then the path to our SSH key. If you don't specify that, a default path will be used like SSH ID RSA, which is quite fine. But just to make it verbose so that you can see what is happening, I'm going to mention it anyway. So this is the path to the generated key when it is created. So let's press enter so that this starts. Here it asks me for a passphrase. It is recommended to add a passphrase to your repositories, to your SSH keys, so that if someone else gets access and finds access to your SSH key, they cannot abuse your key because they don't have your passphrase or password for that SSH key, which is the recommended way to protect your SSH keys. So I give it a passphrase and I enter it again. There we go. And you can see that the key is created in this path. So both my public key and the private key has been generated and placed in this directory .ssh in my home directory. And now the next step is to go to that directory and copy the content of the public key and then add it to GitHub. So how do we do that? I use the cat command in order to dump the content of my public key. So I know that my key is in my home directory and its name is IDRSA. And the prefix, the suffix for the file is pub. So I use it and run it. This gives me the key. So this is my public key. I copy everything that includes this key, and then Control-Shift-C. This copies the whole content of the public key. Okay, now it is copied. I clear the console because we don't need it. And now we can add it to our GitHub account. So you need to be logged into your GitHub account. You press your profile picture and then go to the settings. Then select password and then select SSH and GPG keys. And here I'm gonna add a new SSH key to the list of my existing keys. You can see I already have a list of keys for my different systems. So now I'm going to add a new one, new SSH key, and I'm going to paste the key, the content of the public key that I have copied. You can see it is added, and I give it a title so that I can identify it easily from other keys. So I name it, for example, my Fedora laptop, and then press Add SSH Key. Okay. Now GitHub knows about our public key, therefore we can talk to GitHub and authenticate to it. This is like our ID card to talk to GitHub and get authenticated to it. So I go to my terminal and add this new SSH key to my key ring or my list of keys. So I have an agent for it. This is like someone in charge of holding keys for a building. So I call the key manager first with this SSH agent. This turns it on so that it is listening for our key updates, and then I tell him to keep this key in mind, to add this new key to its existing list of keys. So SSH add, and the path to my new key, of course the private one. This is important. You give the public key to GitHub and the private key to your SSH agent. So ID RSA, and without the .pub suffix, you just call this command and you see that it asks me for a passphrase, and here I enter my passphrase, and you can see the identity is added, which means the key is added to list of keys, and then we can hopefully connect to GitHub and see our list of repositories and pull and push using the SSH protocol. How do we do that? I go to my VS Code, and here say git clone git. This is one of my repositories. So in order to get the SSH address for one of your repositories, you need to go to github.com and then your profile. Here you will see the list of your repositories. I have a repository called C course, and I open it. I want to get the full address to it so that I can clone it on my system. I press code and then SSH. Under SSH, I copy this address. This is the SSH address. You can see that here GitHub recommends us to use a password protected SSH key, which means the passphrase that we added to our SSH key. So once I copied that, I go to my terminal, go to this directory. Of course, I was doing that in VS Code, terminal. So I paste it here. This is the address, and press enter. Okay, you can see it is asking me for the passphrase for this key. I enter it, and it starts to clone the repository, and everything is good. So now we have it on our system, and we can open it in VS Code, for example. So code C course. And that's it. We created an SSH key, we added to our GitHub account, and then we were able to clone a repository using the SSH protocol on our system. And now we are good to go, and we can continue developing our application. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in another video.